Awesome. Welcome back to Comixkings, everybody. This is Archive. And I am back here with Michael. I'm Michael, welcoming everyone else here. Steph?
Stefan?
And this is Brandon. What's going on, everybody? Happy to be here tonight.
Yes, I'm super excited. Tonight we're doing Batman Joker War.
Yes.
Right? Everyone, how does everyone feel about that one?
So I feel like this was definitely Tynion's most sought after project that he was doing. Keeping in mind that Tynion was not supposed to be like the main writer going into 5G or post 5G, but because that didn't happen and Tynion came in with so much hype, he got an extended time period, and this is basically his fan fiction Joker story, because every Batman writer by far has their Joker story that they've been telling since they were probably 12, and this is Tynion's, which is okay. So that's what I took, which I took it as. It's just another Joker story.
Sure.
I really liked the dark designs. I thought that was my favorite part, so I was really excited going into this. But this book left me with more questions, reading it in hindsight, that have not been answered towards the end of his run.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get it. But what did you? How did you feel about it,
man? It was fun. It was a good enough story. I felt like this was designed to be like the end cap of a major overarching story that we never got, instead of just the second part of an opening run. Like, Morrison had Batman R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, he had a bunch of, they had a bunch of end caps, and this seemed like that type of story, but we got that in the second arc. And when I'm what Brandon just said, like, doesn't seem like the story went anywhere afterwards. That's what I'm saying. It seems like this was a story that was designed to end an arc. So I don't know how you would go forth unless he was planning on introducing a bunch of new characters, new villains, stuff like that.
Sure.
It was fun though. I enjoyed it. I think there was a lot of hype to it.
Yes, of course, Tynion jumping in and kind of sticking around longer than he probably intended himself. But I thought that was really cool. I liked this story quite a bit, and because it felt like a very classic Batman story in a more modern age, like which we hadn't got a lot of at the time. It was very refreshing at the time for sure. I did like King's run, but it was very slow. A lot of build, a lot of mini stories in one huge overarching story, which we didn't really get to see finish anyways.
Thanks to Dio. Sorry.
Right? No, exactly. And so we didn't really get to see it culminate anyways, and so we had all this build up with nothing, and then we get this really cool, like, classic Batman story, I think, kind of like to top us off a little bit, and that's what it felt like me. Yes, it was nothing mind-blowing. I don't think it's gonna sit forever in like the huge amazing stories that Batman has been telling, but it was good. I really enjoyed it.
This doesn't fall anywhere on any Tynion stories on my list, because his Detective Comics to me was really strong. Batman Eternal to me was really strong. Mm-hmm. I thought Hell Arisen to an extent was really, really strong for what it was. But this was, like you said, it was a classic Batman story. What was really conflicting to me is you got to realize when this came out. This is coming out right adjacent to Three Jokers, adjacent to, I believe, Joker Killer Smile by Lemire just ended.
Yeah.
And then we had that Joker Harley Criminal Sanity. So you have Joker just being across the medium. So we recently covered Three Jokers in the show.
Yeah.
And this is the other Joker story that was coming out, part of it. I didn't enjoy any of them when they were coming out.
Sure.
Just because I just saw one face, and that was the Joker's. And I didn't like that. Reading this hindsight, I appreciated it a lot more. I appreciated Jimenez's art.
That's one of the best parts of me. He's like literally one of my favorite artists, and I've loved him since I first saw him on Earth 2.
Super Sons? Oh.
Yeah.
I exposed him on Super Sons.
No, yeah, I mean, I followed him two Super Sons, but on Earth 2 and Earth 2 Society, like, it's his art is just so cool. It's so comic book-esque, right? It's such a modern comic book feel. Like it's not something you would see. Like, I mean, obviously I can see it probably in an independent book, but he feels very much like superhero comics. It's his style, and I love it. I think it fits very well in the mainstream books.
I definitely, like you said, he was one of the highlights of the book. I didn't notice until I read it, like he had subtly made his art a little bit scratchier and thicker, darker in this run. I felt like it was like keeping up with the vibes that Capullo set up for the last couple of years. It's still amazing, but you know, I when I first like was like glossing over it before I read it, I was like, classic Jimenez. But he did subtly change his art for this run, and I respect that.
Totally.
He's the John Byrne of Batman right now. Of
Sure,
modern Batman. The John Byrne of modern Batman.
I like that comparison. I think that's very very
Because he
fitting,
has that
actually.
like kind of cartoony sense a little bit.
Yeah, no, exactly. But like not in like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing.
No, but
It's
he
very
grit too. It's
comic
like if
booky.
you've
Yeah,
ever
it's
seen
good.
John Byrne's art, that's not Saturday morning cartoon, I would say. Because John Byrne was able to use a lot of different tones in his art, like underlying that cartoony thing. So that's really what I'm getting at. Is you see like Punchline
totally.
like throwing punches, and it's like Punchline to me looks like very like she only belongs in an animated show. I would not bear to see her in live action, but I think she would be a great animated character. And that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Totally. No, I think that works immensely well.
Right.
So yeah, should we jump in?
Let's jump right in. Let's
jump right in, because that's exactly what this story jumps in at. I mean, there's the prelude of it, but I only have the main story, so I'm jumping into the main story.
The prelude of this is basically Dark Design. So going into Joker War, the Dark Designs was really just setting the stage of how Joker became famous, and taking over Wayne Industries. So the whole plot of this book is, what if Joker was rich and took over Wayne Enterprises? The Dark Designs was just setting that up. So all these characters met each other, right, in Dark Designs, and now they are fighting each other in the end game that Stefan was mentioning earlier.
Yes.
This was it. So just wanted
Riddler,
to give everyone a quick little synopsis
Catwoman,
of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
What would Joker do if he were rich?
And it was I liked that first build up, to be honest with you, like the whole, like, especially with Selina being like, oh my god, no, sorry, you know, I know we're not talking Batman, but you know, stuff's going down and I need to you know, coming off the canceled wedding.
Right. Selina was the one who gave him that idea, essentially, when they went to the designer, who ended up being a dead Joker. Everyone, a couple of different villains, got to go to this Court of Owls-esque place, like on like I would say like the Coney Island of Gotham, if they had one, but the place no one ever looks at. But
really cool. What's his name? I liked the newer character. He had the red suit. I liked him a lot.
Oh, it was a designer.
No.
He's talking about the Underbroker.
The Underbroker.
Yeah,
the introduction of the Underbroker as well. I thought that was a really, really cool person too. But yes, so main Joker War storyline starts off with backpedaling a little bit. We get a little bit of a before story, Joker story. This is like one of like the big first cases Batman was working with when it came to Joker, and they're kind of like getting into like who the Joker might be and what's kind of coming on. And then we go mainstream. We're back in the fighting right now. Wayne Enterprises is being broken into, and by none other than the brand new character of this story, Tynion's brand new like Batman character, Punchline. She's leading this break-in. Yeah, there she is. Joker's new girlfriend. But in this one, she plays more of like a partner, which I like a lot better.
Punchline. What do you think of her?
Yeah,
let's talk about that for a little bit.
Sure.
I don't mind her, but I felt I didn't really get like a personality from this, to be honest. I mean, maybe it's too early to say that. I mean, she was cold, but I mean, and you know, it was written that way, designed that way, but she didn't really resonate with me like that. She wasn't bad, but I didn't see the hype, to be honest.
Totally. Like to be honest, I like the potential of her. I was really hoping throughout like they would not make her a hero. Like what they did with Harley Quinn, like her big decade long story arcs, culminating her being like this new kind of hero figure. I liked, but I don't think we needed to see that again. I'm really hoping that. Soon. Yeah, exactly. Especially so soon. So I'm really hoping that they really explore her as a villain. And I felt throughout the entire time reading Joker War with Punchline is that she knows she's a tool for Joker, but she also has an agenda that she wants to fill in right now. That's kind of working along with it, and that's like kind of what I was feeling.
They're like mutual relationships.
Exactly. It's more mutual than like subservient.
It's
like
more like,
Harley
I know
Quinn
I'm a
was.
tool, but I'm gonna get out before he starts using me like one.
Exactly. Like they both have an agenda and
but
just happen to be working.
I don't know. I think Punchline is an interesting character. I think she's there are a lot of things that I like about her. I like her design.
Yeah.
Her design is probably one of the more attractive in comics. Like not from like a how do I say it? Like I'm not like attracted to her like that, but like
No.
she's appealing.
Very
She's
sleek.
appealing to look
Yeah.
at as just like
And the color scheme.
yeah, just in the color scheme stands out alone, and just with the blue highlights, everything just really just draws attention to her, and I think Jimenez just outdid himself on the design. He's really taken that to a whole new level as an artist.
Absolutely.
I believe this is one of the first times he's ever like co-created characters, or especially like this much. So I think he really like flexed himself on this. Her story's interesting, and it's just my only concern, and it's something I've been saying for months now. She's so tethered to the Joker. I don't see her have anyone exploring that potential when Joker's not around, and Joker won't be around for a lot because he's living his life, vacationing away from Commissioner Gordon right now, but in normal continuity. But I don't know. I feel like
I've been enjoying her
character enough.
I've been enjoying her backup story. I think it's in Joker. She has a backup story in Joker that I've been really enjoying. They've been
but no one's gonna care when she beats Bluebird because Bluebird has never really been established since outside of Batman and Turtle. I believe that was like the last time we saw her because she wasn't in tech by Tynion at all. Yeah. This was a Batman and Turtle concept that Bluebird's now someone part of the family, but she's not really part of the Bat family. I don't even really consider her part of the Bat family. So I find the fact that Punchline can go toe to toe with Harley Quinn, but is really struggling against Bluebird to be very amateurish writing. But
sure, but to your point about exploring who she is as her own character, that's kind of what I was getting at. Is that they're breaking her off a little bit and kind of exploring more with who she is, and you kind of feel for her when she talks about her backstory a little bit.
Right.
A little bit.
And if a writer really cares, they'll use her.
Totally.
But for now, I don't see that because there are other characters. That's the thing. Is there are other characters there that are just as not maybe as appealing visually, but there are other characters to get the job done where she just is.
There's potential there, but
potential, but I don't think we're going to see that, especially with everything going on with Tynion in DC right now.
That's true. So we're Batman's chasing down some craziness going down in Gotham right now. We're seeing that really what's going on is Punchline is taking over Wayne Enterprises with the help of a Jokerized Fox right now. She's trying to really kind of break into what's going on at Wayne Enterprises, and then we're having to do with what's going on there. But one of the best scenes I loved was right up here, actually, the whole Joker getting the kind of like romantic kind of thing with this evil kind of sense of romance, but like with the whole theater aspect of when Bruce Wayne's parents, like right where Bruce Wayne's parents died, and this whole scene when he's talking to the owner is just so creepy. Like it really draws in Tynion's skill with suspense, with horror right in here. I think Joker is a great example of how Tynion was a great choice in kind of telling a Joker story when it regards to Batman and Joker's relationship.
So, what was really cool about this scene is we saw this whole like few pages, we just saw a reiteration in Three Jokers when they were coming out at the exact same time, both dealing with the Monarch Theater, both figuring out, who's the Joker. And I honestly thought Tynion did a much better job than Jeff Johns did, and Jorge Jimenez did a much better job on art. If I didn't choose between Three Jokers and Joker War, I'm picking Joker War 100%.
And that's saying something because Fabric is a phenomenal artist too.
Yeah,
and
but
that's really
here's the
saying
thing
something
about Fabric and Jimenez's art. They're two exquisite Batman artists, except Fabric's art wasn't as layered as Jimenez. Like, I look at Fabric's art and it's very face value. And that's just probably because of the panel layouts and what that book was aimed for. But even I kind of felt that way in Darkseid War a little bit.
His background work was kind of lacking in Three Jokers for sure, where Jimenez, like the entire panel of each section is so detailed, but it's not like hyper detailed, which is great. Like the action shots, the moving shots, the blurriness is so where it needs to be is so perfect.
Right. John Byrne. Enough
There you
said.
go. As we continue on, we get to meet one of my new favorite characters, side characters, the underbrokers coming in. So we meet Commissioner Bullock. He's obviously taken over for Gordon a while ago. And they're talking about the new what's going on with the mayor, and that he's having to. Bullock's not wanting to really protect this guy because they know who each other are, and they know Bullock should be arresting this guy, but he can't be touched right now. The law is on the villain's side at the moment.
Well, because Joker's just worth $1 million.
Exactly.
Millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. So I like that go between. I love Bullock as a character too. I don't think he's used enough, to be honest with you. Usually we always default onto Gordon, but using kind of the side characters, the Gotham City PD is great, and Bullock's been around for so long, and the choice to make him the commissioner, I think, is really cool. And especially because Bullock, the way he's writing him is that Bullock himself is feeling like, I'm not here 100%. I feel awkward in this place. This isn't where I'm meant to be, but I'll do it. I can do it. But I'm waiting for Gordon to come back, and so I like that.
But I'm sassing the crap out of you right now. He's like,
exactly. Like he can do his job, and he's gonna be Bullock the entire time he's gonna do it. So I really, really like that aspect of it. But as we continue, we get Batman knowing what's going on. He's trying to break back into his own quote unquote home with a lot of the cool tech coming around, because that's a big thing towards the end of this, which is gonna be cool. So get used to the tech for right now. So he breaks back into Wayne Enterprises, and he fights one of his first big punchline fights. And as they're going back and forth, Batman can see that Fox is being held. He's under the Joker serum, the Joker gas. So he's needing to save one of his friends. And we discover this new Batman suit, which is pretty cool.
Right, which is, I guess it's kind of cool that the Batsuit's there, considering how this Bruce Wayne has set up a bunch of different hideouts or like stakeout areas throughout like Wayne Enterprises, throughout everything in Gotham, just in case he needs it. Because Joker and Punchline took it over, they know the secret stash, and that's how they got out of Lucius Fox. For anyone who's just wondering about that, because Joker took over Wayne Enterprises, he knows all the secrets.
He does. I like the suit's cool, kind of like a new prototype suit that Fox was developing, so it makes sense that
and we saw previously in like the first few pages, they're looking for Bruce, and they're trying to sue Bruce for his affiliation with Batman, providing him money for a lot of resources. It got kind of flooded back. I guess that's like the first thing Joker would do when he outs Bruce Wayne or outs Batman with Wayne Enterprises is trying to make you sue yourself, I guess, or like pay yourself back.
I would assume so. But as we continue, we see that he gets the Joker serum gets Batman gets infected. Sorry, Batman gets infected. Punchline knows exactly what she's doing. She's messing with Batman, of course. And as we go, we're hearing Alfred's voice a little bit. We're seeing that's a hint of that coming on, which I really actually liked. Just kind of like watch that as we go through. There's little hints of Alfred in his head, because at this point Alfred has been dead for a while because of the Tom King run with Bane.
Like 20 issues now at this point.
Exactly. So he's been gone, but it's still affecting Bruce, obviously. But as we continue, Batman wakes up from this whatever's happening with him, the psychosis, and he's on top of a plane with the Joker's face on a bat plane, and he's just on his way in a crash course towards Wayne Enterprises. So that's where we leave the first issue of Joker War. As we go into the second one, it's bright, it's shiny. Gotham is bright and shiny, ready to go. Something's crazy going on. We have a Batman in daylight going through. Really, really fun in this brand new bat suit. We stop at Army of Mr. Freeze. Like, this really cool, really awesome scene is very uplifting, and you're kind of confused a little bit, like what is going on. Yeah,
it's just iced out. Look at all that ice.
I know, it's really, really cool though. But you don't really know what's going on, because you're like, this is kind of not where we left off. And Batman gets back to the cave, and we get a happy, smiling Batman talking to Alfred, and
old Alfred.
Yeah, old Alfred. You get the gray on Batman as well. So this is a little bit in the future, but then turn the page and actually, no, this is a dream. This is a nightmare, in fact. And so Batman has to come to terms with what's really, really going on, but he gets woken up unexpectedly by Harley Quinn.
Right.
And we see that Batman has no idea where he's at right now. He's very delusional. But I mean, anyone would be. He crashed into a Wayne Enterprises and was gassed by the Joker.
And he got woken up by Harley.
He got woken up by Harley, which is probably not what anyone really wants to do.
I think my favorite part in this book, and it's severely underrated, is the dialogue of Harley Quinn. That's my favorite part. It's because if you look at Harley if you look at the dialogue throughout Harley in the New 52 and even in her Rebirth series, what Jimmy and Amanda set up in her in the New 52 is changing her status quo for being just like a free spirit, a very open person, moving on from being in that toxic relationship from Joker. And she's just out to be herself and put herself first and just have fun in life. But of course, she's Harley. She got to crack a few skulls along the way.
Of course.
In this particular issue, I think they do elaborate on it, but you mentioned it earlier, Michael. The voice of Alfred inside Bruce's head, I think that was really cool because it was like we didn't really get to see Bruce get any closure with Alfred's death in the King run. So this was like that sense of closure. Even though it was just in his head, it was a cool bit. You know, Bruce got his peace with that. You know, it was dope.
Right. 100%. I agree. With Harley in Rebirth, kind of fell off a little bit. Sam Humphries did a great job, but it really did fall off. But when Tynion wrote Harley, it was so mature. Like, I was able to look at Harley and be like, you've come a long way. Like, you've taken all of your lessons and you've just made yourself better. And you're just so much of a wiser person. That's something like, you know, you don't take for granted is your life lessons, right? You take the good with the bad. And that's really what makes Harley. You take the good with the bad. You just keep living your life. Because this is the most mature I've ever seen Harley Quinn be. Good, bad, or nothing. I
mean, as mature as Harley Quinn can be.
No, but she was actually like mature. Like, just look at the dialogue in her, you know?
No, of course. I'm not downplaying that at all. Of course she has. But I mean, and she's very utilized in this, which I like.
Yes.
She's very team. She's trying to be Team Batman very, very well. I mean, she's still Harley, but at the end of the day, she's trying really hard to be Team Batman, which I like.
I thought that was really mature of her.
Oh, totally. I completely agree. But because he wakes up to Harley, right? Batman wakes up to Harley and he's confused what's going on. So Harley's kind of given the breakdown of, hey, Bats, you've been out for a while. City's gone to all to hell as usual, but even worse now. There's Jokers everywhere in Batmobiles and Batplanes using Bat tech, doing crazy stuff right now. We actually get introduced to the Clownhunter as well in the very boom. And this guy right here. He's going around taking out clowns.
What we missed.
Yeah. And this is kind of Harlequin's kind of recapping on what's going on while Batman's been out, been knocked out, recovering from his psychosis. And he's still not really over it. He's still kind of like out there, and Harley Quinn realizes it too. She's like, we need your help. Yeah. And as we go, we see that the Joker told him exactly where he's going to be. He needs to be going where his parents were. And Batman still is kind of like out of it. So he doesn't know really who he can trust at this point. And Harley Quinn's trying, but he pushes her and he jumps out of a window. Classic Batman.
So what has happened since Batman's been out?
What?
Gotham
in the book.
Just
chaos. All the Jokers are out. Like I said, there's one whole page where you see all the Jokers in different Batmobiles and Batplanes. They have all the Bat tech going on because they have control of Wayne Enterprises, and Wayne Enterprises Fox was making all this stuff for Batman, so they had access to every single thing that's going on. So they're pretty much taken over, and there's really nothing the cops can do about it, actually. Right. So as we continue, Batman's obviously on a crash course with the Joker. He knows where he has to go. So he's taking out these Jokers as we go, and he's heading to the theater. Of course, showing the movie that it was being shown to Zorro as his parents were dead. So very, very, very poetic, as Joker likes to do. He likes to put on a show, obviously.
Right. If you're writing a seminal Batman story, I said this during Three Jokers, if you're writing a seminal Batman story, you're going to go over his origin at least once.
At least, you got to. Mention his parents, at least. It's a big part. But the crazy part of this, too, like, as Batman walks in the theater, he's seeing all these dead bodies, all these Jokerized dead bodies, and really, it's like everyone the Joker has killed. Like, that was such a crazy part to me. Like, Joker's on the screen explaining what's going on, saying, like, you know what, this is you and me, Batman. It's you and me, always been you and me. And then also, if you never stop me, all these people wouldn't even be here, right? These are all the people that I killed because you wouldn't be able to stop. You can't stop me. And it was literally all these people, all these Jokerized zombies coming back to life, and the Joker just having a good laugh, And
I think that was an interesting concept they pushed throughout it, was the fact that Joker views the world as just him and Bruce being the only real things, and everybody else is just like, it's their playground, everything else can be disposed of or treated at their leisure.
I would argue not even just him and Bruce. I would say him and Batman. I don't know if he doesn't really give it. You don't think Joker cares about Bruce Wayne. I think what Joker cares about is his relationship with Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
yes, Steph, I agree. I completely agree.
I thought that there was something really early in the beginning of this book. It was in the first page. It was in the first page when we had that flashback. Batman was talking about how Joker was setting himself up to lose so he can learn Batman's limits.
Yeah.
Like, Joker will lose so many times, but he wants to know how Batman will defeat him, because even if Joker loses and Batman goes over the edge to win, Joker won.
Yeah.
So it's it's like, even if he sets himself up going in, okay, I'm going to lose this round, he's testing Batman for the next time he comes around. So that's what was so interesting about this story, and that concept was, no matter how many times Joker loses, he'll always win because he'll always keep pushing Batman.
Yep.
That's almost a Killing Joke reference.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, it's such a, I mean, people, it can be said that it's a very overplayed, the relationship with the Joker, but I think I can't really, as much as I want something new every once in a while, I always would like a Joker story.
That's awesome.
It feels good to have a Joker story with Batman. They're so complementary, but at the same time, they're so dramatically opposite. And they're both forces of nature at this point, in their lore. Maybe that's not how it started out, obviously back in the Golden Age, but it's evolved into this companionship that neither one of them can escape. And definitely from the Joker, at least, perspective, he doesn't want to. This is exactly where he wants to be. Joker is ridiculously scary because I think people forget how smart he is. He can compete with Batman. I think people really underestimate how intelligent the Joker is, and it's crazy.
I even just the psychotic nature of, I'm literally gonna get the crap beaten out of me, or I'm gonna do all this crazy stuff. I'm gonna kill all these people just to push someone over the top, right? Just to so I can just make this person better. A lot of times when I see someone and I want to make them better, I'll do it indirectly by challenging them, putting them on the spot. Maybe sometimes even leading an Archives episode of Young Avengers, just to make them a better person.
I felt that was coming.
I'm sorry, but I had to know that early. But
that was fun.
Or even with my karate students, I would indirectly be an ass to make them better. And to me, just that's crazy of how far people take how to give those lessons.
Yeah.
And Joker's just such an interesting concept because of how psychotically intelligent he is, and but what's
there's a method
scary
to the madness.
Is he makes so much sense sometimes. Wait,
oh yeah,
that's not a
sure.
But
method to the madness.
Sometimes I'm like, you know what? I can see you do it.
They follow their own codes. They both have a mission, and they both see it through to the very end. They're so similar. It's crazy. I love the duality of both these characters and how they're so opposite, but at the same time they're so similar.
Right,
so
and
similar,
even within ourselves, we all have those yin and yang moments. Sometimes we be having the best day ever. Something bad, we'll think the worst, right? We'll think the most psychotic things, right? And then people are oh my gosh, you need therapy, blah blah blah, whatever. Which, no disrespect to therapy, but but not everything is treated as you're psychotic, because everyone lives at those yin and yangs,
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's so interesting of how that's displayed with their relationships sometimes.
Absolutely.
That was well said. Yes, very, very well said. Yeah. But yes, so as we continue on, we get another flash to Punchline again and see where she's headed. And she is, just enjoying being rich. I love it. I love being rich and that psychotic look of her.
Like all she did was what? Date the dude, do a few dirty deeds. Like actually, like dirty deeds, like illegal deeds. I don't know what kind of deeds y'all pre-verse were saying, but it's crazy because like she literally didn't do a whole lot. She's a college student. And now she's
like long for the ride a little bit.
She's like the Charlie D'Amelio of Gotham City now.
She's not stupid. I don't think she's stupid,
No, I didn't say she's stupid. I said she's the Charlie D'Amelio.
Exactly. Like, no, exactly. I was clarifying for everyone in case, but like, yeah, she's intelligent. She's nowhere on their level, but like, yeah, she's kind of like seeing where it's going. I think she's also a couple steps ahead, but where Batman and Joker are like 20 steps ahead, maybe she's like 1 or 2. She's seeing a little bit of the path, So at least ahead of all the goons for sure and the cops. So she's a little bit ahead of the goons and cops for sure.
For everyone who doesn't know who Charlie D'Amelio is, she's just a TikTok star who like got famous at the age of 16, became a millionaire in like 2 months, 3 months.
The more you know.
And has one of the biggest net worths like in pop culture today. I would say
our society, I guess.
In less than a year. In a year.
I know it's ridiculous. But we see that there's you have all the clown henchmen going on, and then one mentions that stuff's really kind of. She's like, if everything's secure, everything go. We're still going to plan. And one's like, well, we're having a little bit of a hiccup, and the hiccup is the Clownhunter. He's taking out these clowns with literally no mercy. He is literally killing them and taking out each clown,
blowing them up and shit.
And he's
enjoying
burning them. He's not messing with them, and he's stopping them. He's hunting them and he's stomping them, and that's a little bit of a hiccup for Punchline. And she feels because she's very worried that nothing can go out of plan, because I'm sure that's a threat from Joker. Everything has to go to plan or this isn't going to work, or
she doesn't get her half of the bargain.
Exactly. Right. This isn't going to work. And so she's like, everything, because you see this going through the rest of this book with her, everything has to be going to plan or she just freaks out. And so obviously she's on a quest to find out what's going on with that. But in the meantime, we go back to Batman, who's been gassed as well, because all the dead bodies were just flooding out with this Joker gas. So he's even more delusional with what's going on. And so, but with his training, he jumps right in and tries to take on all these Jokerized zombies. He's losing. He's being hit. He's fighting back the best he can. But the Joker toxin is starting to make all the zombies look like Joker. He doesn't know what's going on, who's the real Joker, what's really happening. And so there's this is one of my favorite panels of all time.
Yeah.
Like this jump scene is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely.
And there's Joker's just tearing him apart mentally, right? Just full of anguish. And then,
shut up.
Yeah, and this is what that scene is all about. Like, he can't take it anymore. He's trying to get a sense of what's going on around him, go back to what his training is. So he literally blinds himself. He can't trust his eyes anymore. He's trying to trust all the other senses he has around him that he can trust. And so
Matt Murdock, who?
Exactly. Yeah, his little echolocation device, really, really cool. But he's being beaten up like crazy, and he finally makes it out of the theater, burning mess, beaten up like crazy. And of course, Harley was tailing him the whole time, and he collapses down on the street, and she has to pick him up again. She's always cleaning up after him in this whole series. We get I like this this part right here where they're like right together, like this whole back and forth right here, kind of like a old into new kind of thing. I really liked it. That was really good art design. This whole scene where Joker's like in this little acts of luxury, he's just this page
layout real quick of like just the 1-2 punch, like Batman passing out, and then Harley and Punchline, or not Harley and Punchline, Joker and Punchline being right on the next page.
Yeah.
Not only will you see that in the opposite in most other Joker Batman books, it makes this unique in its own right, but most writers or most artists will make the one Harley and Batman page be a double, be like a double page to really emphasize that. But I think what Tynion and Jimenez are trying to highlight is the duality of this situation and how it's
totally.
So I thought that was like really subtle, but it was like really powerful as well.
Yeah,
that's a great point. Yes, I think that's a phenomenal point. This whole thing is whenever we get into a Joker story with Batman, it's always about the two natures of both men. You know, like it's how one, they're both two sides of a same coin kind of thing. And I love that aspect of it. And Tynion does a magnificent job telling the story. Jimenez does a even better, probably in my opinion, way of visually showing us that.
Oh yeah.
And this to your point, Brandon, this is exactly that. That's what is going on.
Duality.
But yes, we're getting into Punchline is just very excited. You know, the plan that she was told was going to happen is right here, right in front of her. It's coming to fruition. You know, and Joker's just like, yeah, you know what, whatever. You know, it is what it is. You know, I gotta, you know, I'm still waiting to finish it off. And she's like, well, you know, I gotta take off one more piece is left, and that's Harley for her. She has this really obvious rivalry with Harley, but Harley doesn't even know that, right? And so like she wants to make sure that she is the only woman in Joker's life. And so this is how you take
I
her
really
out.
just don't think Harley cares.
She does.
Exactly. That's what I love about it. I think it's phenomenal.
And that's what I said earlier about like the maturity of Harley.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
like,
she is over him. Like that's done. Like she she doesn't need to be with him anymore. She's not obsessed. She's not pining over him. She's fully moved on and become her own person.
Right. And in the Dark Designs, they had like this one moment right before her throat got slit. It was like she said, listen, like Toots, like we're gonna have this same conversation. We're gonna relive this moment over margaritas next time. It'll all be good. Because Harley knows that like she'll get out of the Joker's grasp and she'll move on from everything. And like Harley's like, yeah, you're not in the mood to hear what I have to say right now, which is okay. But one day you will, and I'll be there for that. You know?
Yeah, that was.
Like,
really
I thought that was like that part alone. I was like,
that was right before like Punchline like stabs her, correct? I'm pretty sure that's
that was like right
in
when
this,
she
in this whole series so far. You see that she's this giant. Harley has this giant scar on her neck. Punchline just like stabs her in the throat and leaves her for dead. So classic. So we're flashing back to where Batman is. Harley had picked him up right off the street. He's still ridiculously delusional with Joker toxin. He doesn't really know where he's at. He's seeing things, he's hearing things, and we wake
Ace,
up.
the Bat Hound.
This was actually shout out to the colorist as well. Like the scene, I'm not really doing it justice, but the scene in Eaton or whatever they were was just banging color wise.
Yeah, this is Poison Ivy's little hideout.
Tomio More, I think, to the colors. Or he's been the main colorist on Tynion on Jimenez's art.
Are they?
I believe it's More. Yeah.
Okay.
I would think so as well. But yes, we're in Eden, Poison Ivy's little hideaway, which is right below Gotham. It's a little safe haven, and Poison Ivy's Harley's trying to get Batman on his feet, trying to get him ready to go so he can take on Joker, because she knows he's the only one that can, right? So she's trying to prep him the best we can. And the only way to do that is to clear the toxins out of his body. So he ingests this drink that Harley gives him, and he just goes even more crazy. Like they're really fighting crazy with crazy at this point.
She takes off.
Yeah,
this man had the trip of his life.
Seriously though, like this is ridiculous, and she's just trying to help. But really, I love this. And now Bruce has to confront the thing he missed.
The only thing missing from this scene is Snoop Dogg.
It's true though, but he has to confront the voice he's had in the back of his head, Alfred, who has been dead. So this is a big thing. His father's back. He's trying to talk to him.
Oh my gosh. This is definitely an adventure.
This really is. There's a lot going on in this story, because as we continue on to the next issue, all the mainstream villains, actually, I should have mentioned at the beginning, are in hideout right now. They knew the Joker was about to. Yeah, they knew the Joker was about to go have this huge takedown.
Injured Catwoman in the Dark Designs, and she got rescued by Penguin.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, they're at the Iceberg Lounge. They're all safe, bunkered down. Like Penguin literally invited all the rogues gallery. Yeah, the Joker's going really nuts. We can't be here.
Right, Scarecrow before the upgrade.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably the worst Riddler design I've ever seen. And
you know what?
There is 0 year.
Riddler's a hard character to really nail down, but I kind of appreciated this look because I felt like it was a shout out to Jim Carrey and Batman.
I was about to say, it looks like Jim Carrey's.
Yeah, that's why I appreciated it.
Okay, go back to Dark Designs and you'll see him like on like the Jumbotron and just the most ugly look ever. Gilliam March just ruined it. I was like, that's bad.
I kind of agree, to be honest with you.
I
I like
he
Gillian
never
March,
had
but
a
yeah,
good-
that one was a fail for me.
Mikhail Janin had a horrible Riddler. Greg Capullo had a horrible Riddler. I'm like, why get any of these top
Why didn't you
artists
design
draw
it?
Riddler?
He
I mean,
seems
how do you
easy,
think
but he's
Riddler should
difficult.
look?
Like a pimp.
Like a pimp. Okay, sure. He's the pimp of riddles. That's what he does.
He should look straight like a pimp with that suit jacket.
And the
Just
cane and the
shutting out
hat. Yeah,
his
he's
cane.
also, yeah. I know.
Come on
He
now.
should.
He should look like a pimp.
I mean, yeah, go for. I would love to read that story. I would be down. Let's see what happens.
I would so be down for that.
Okay. Okay. All right. They're hiding out. The villains are hiding out. Right. They're scared shitless. And they're just, trying to pass the time. Catwoman is obviously scared of what's going on. She's worried about Batman, of course. She's worried about her city and what's going to happen to the rest of them. But as we continue, we see Bruce kind of. We realize this is in his head. This has to be in his head right now. This is old memories, trying to recapture a little bit, trying to work out his issues with what happened with Alfred and what's going on with himself and his connection with his city. The whole thing with Joker using the city against him, because that was a big thing. The Waynes were what helped build the city, right? And so as much as Batman is Batman, he's also the city as well. So this big thing is a big aspect of him. And then losing Alfred is also one of the big parts of it.
Alfred,
and we
money
exactly
mind at this point, and all you have to do is wake up to Harley. That's the downgrade. I'm sorry.
Because when we see that, right, we see this whole thing with Batman Alfred, but we realize on the next page that it's just going on in his head. He's really trying to work out things mentally within himself.
Right.
And we just see Harley kind of taking care of him. And then turns out Punchline knew exactly where he was the entire time. And so we're getting the rematch we've been waiting for.
Yes. Chick fight.
Yes. And so as we continue on, we know that Batman and Alfred are talking in their head. Bruce is working out his self, his self throughout this entire
Harley's
thing.
just stalling. She's just really stalling at this point.
Who is?
Harley.
Yeah, because that's what's going on. While Bruce is kind of like just in a vegetative state on the ground, there's this battle going on between Harley and Punchline where they have, grenade launchers. So
right.
it's really, really fun kind of like
right.
fight actually that's coming up right now, which I really actually
this
enjoy.
was
I
a
like the
really
fight.
interesting piece of dialogue. Sorry to cut you off, but
No,
Harley says, I don't feel sorry for you, kid. You still don't see that we're exactly the same. I thought Mr. J had a heart. You think he has a brain, but he's not doing this for any of the reasons you think. He doesn't do anything you believe in. He's a manipulator. He's manipulating you. Punchline says, you don't get it. You want everyone to be as stupid as you are. And then Harley just uppercuts her. And then everything. But I thought that moment alone was really cool, because of what we were saying earlier, especially you, Michael, about how Punchline thinks that she believes in him, rather as Harley really just saw him for what he was. Punchline believes in the message, right? And
yes, exactly.
And just the intelligence, right? Punchline believes in the intelligence of Joker. Harley was really just attracted to him, I would say.
No, exactly. She was obsessed with Joker, where Punchline sees the Joker and using him to further her own gains.
This was probably my favorite issue of the run, though, just because of the whole Bruce and Alfred inner monologue, or inner head stuff going on.
Right, and the panel layouts were especially creative in this issue.
Beautiful,
and it was just a big flex.
Yeah,
and it's surprisingly bright for a Batman story. Throughout this whole thing, you get a lot of reds, yellows, oranges, right?
Hello?
You get a whole lot of reds, brights in this story. Kind of what I thought was in the Grant Morrison run.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry.
in the first part of the Morrison run, I kind of picked up for you.
Thank you very much.
You got a whole lot of orange, but that was when Batman wasn't. I would say this is bright for Gotham, because we've seen a bright Batman book. I mean, Batman Universe was especially bright, but mostly because he was spending a lot of time on Thanagar. But but I would say for Gotham, this is as bright as Gotham's ever going to be.
No, and then yes, exactly, and the Punchline and Harley are going after each other. You get a little bit of Punchline's backstory, a little bit as well through here. But you were talking about really good Harley dialogue, really good Punchline dialogue from what we were talking about earlier. Harley is just like, he's a manipulator. He's manipulating you, and she's like, I don't get it. You don't want everyone to be as stupid as you, right? She's digging at her, as much as she can. Harley, Punchline isn't stupid.
No, not at all.
Nope.
Punchline is she's letting it be known like she's forced to be reckoned with, just as much as Harley is.
Right. And what's really cool is that Punchline can really just go toe to toe. So like it really establishes her character. And like it's these moments alone that make me feel like, okay, Punchline's a good enough character to last in this mythos.
Yeah.
But then the other part of me, it's just still like she's so tethered to Joker.
Yeah.
He hasn't really got set aside. It's like she definitely has potential, but I'm not buying it right now. I just don't see it blossoming at this point.
No, totally. I completely agree.
And I think it's almost a waste of a good character, because it's a shame because all of these characters really did have potential, Punchline and Miracle Molly, but I only see one of them getting attention from any other creator going forward, especially because of how short-lived this was.
Who?
I would see Miracle Molly being
Miracle Molly over Punchline. Sure, I can definitely see that
because she fits more of an Oracle role.
Yeah,
with
I think
she
has more. She has more
feelings.
Potential is the wrong word. I can see potential in Punchline. You can do more with Miracle Molly.
She has more independence. I would say.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, she's not connected to Joker. Yeah.
No, not at all.
I completely agree. But yes, Harley and Punchline are fighting. That's what they're doing. They're going toe to toe right now. But I completely agree with you that this is also my favorite issue, because this has my favorite scene in the entire story. Now we get into the scene between him and Alfred, and this is obviously in Bruce's head, but it feels so like what you want.
Yeah,
like you all as an audience member, this is what you've wanted between Bruce and Alfred this entire time. And so they're talking. He's like, Alfred's like, this is the city that you wanted, right? You were trying to make the city the way you wanted, the way you felt it was supposed to be. And Batman's like, I failed. And then Alfred just smacks him. He's like, yes, well, you're Batman. Like,
right, wake up.
You can do it. You can do whatever you want. Like, stop being ridiculous right now.
Say, now
exactly. And he just literally smacks the craziness out of him. And I think that was like the moment when it truly did. And so he's talking to him that you need to do this. You are the only one that can do this. And that I've always been here with you. And this whole scene, he's like, so wake up, my boy. Tell the city who you are. Yeah.
I love this scene.
It's really such a cool scene. Like,
I really, really, really think Tynion wanted to write Alfred, and this is the only way he could.
It's the only way he could.
It was a super sentimental scene.
I know he wanted that relationship. You can tell he wanted that relationship between them. He wanted that father-son, that kind of like mentor kind of there for him. His Batman's emotional support. Like, if anyone's his emotional support that you can be emotionally supported to Batman, it's Alfred.
Like, Alfred brings out the best in all the other Bat characters. It's like, why are they the way they are when Bruce is such like, if Bruce is their father figure, and I believe Stefan, you were saying this earlier to me, correct?
What's that?
If Bruce is their father figure, what's really interesting is all these characters should be really emotionless, but what brings the good out of them is Alfred.
Yeah. If he wasn't there, they would all have been not good.
And I remember talking to Peter Tomasi, because him and Tynion wrote the RIP issue, and he's like, I never wanted to write this book. He's like, I don't want to do this at all. Which I get it. Like, I wouldn't want to write the funeral of Alfred and everything, but
Alfred's also like the only character who's known Bruce before everyone else. Robin, no matter how close he is to anybody, like Damian, Dick, Tim, they all have known Batman Bruce after the incident. They've only known him as Batman. Like Bruce, or Alfred knew him as Bruce before the trauma. So it's like that's like the last piece of his old life, and he's like, he almost can't remember life without Alfred. So it's like him doing this with the whole entire time he's been Batman. Alfred's been there by his side, so for him to try to do the operation without the guy who helped him originate it, and it's just, I don't know, I really like the scene where he's like, my boy, this is you doing it without me. Like, I'm only a voice in your head. Like, it just made so much sense. Like, Bruce, his own psyche, like, rationalizing that and, like, just telling him. But it, like you said, it felt like something that they would say to each other in reality too. Like
Right.
it was great scene. Great
It's because
scene.
they knew each other so well, and Bruce
Yeah.
knew what Alfred would say. This is
And Tynion
is
really
the
just
pep talk.
wanted to write it.
Yeah, exactly. But then you get one of the coolest scenes, Batman. Like,
Yo,
I
yeah.
love that whole thing. But Batman wakes up and he is ready to go. He just got an emotional kick in the pants, ready to. He's like, I restarted
And a
my
slap in
engine.
the face.
And a slap in the face by the person that he probably loved the most. And he's like, you know what? If he thinks I can do it, then you know what? Gosh darn it, I'm Batman. And it even says it on my cape. I can do it. You know, I can do this. And so you can see the fear in Punchline's eyes as well as he like takes her out in one kick. Like Harley and her were battling this entire time, and then he just comes in, swoops in, boom, and now she's incapacitated, and we're ready to go.
Oh, it's all right. Batman did the same thing to the vial. Like,
Yes,
just recently,
yeah.
I was like, that sucks. But I never like when Batman just comes in and just kicks him in the side. Because I'm like, now they're meaningless. I'm like, you really just like, it's like they were building up. It's like, step aside. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. Yeah,
Hell, Batman, I can do anything. Just you're
Yeah.
irrelevant to me.
yeah.
Stay a Harley.
The biggest
stay
cop
a
out.
Harley
Yeah.
villain.
See,
Like, you
I
couldn't
would.
compete
Okay,
with
yeah.
me.
Side note, like I actually wouldn't mind that whole thing. I'm Batman as much as if they would show it every once in a while, like how he did.
Yeah.
It. You know, not just like, oh, this happened, how that happened. I'm Batman. No, show me how he did it, and then I'll be like, okay, then I accept
Not
that you're
just-
this
not just-
awesome Batman character. Please do.
Right.
Not as I'm Batman and just kick you and you're
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
Just like,
Yeah,
oh,
whatever.
just stay a Harley villain because you could never compete with my ass. Like, come on, that's not interesting to me. I don't want
Yeah,
everyone
I
to
agree.
just be demoted to the next Robin or the next Bat family member because they can't compete with Batman. I'm
Please
like,
make
God
him
damn
Robin.
it, that's so stupid.
All right. Yes. As we see going forward, Batman is on this new mission now. He's ready. He's like, I need my team now. Let's. I know I'm the biggest loner, but I need to get my team together. I can only do this with everybody. And as we go, we're back in the Iceberg Lounge, and Catwoman is trying to rally her own set of things. She has her own plans in the works, and so that ends, I think, issue 3 or 4. And
Hey, we got a good issue next.
here we go. Yeah, we're getting into the big stuff. Joker, classic looking Joker, the green and the purple. He's ready to go, and I love his stretch Hummer. That's always nice. Nice little touch. And as we go through, we're seeing the city in chaos. We're seeing everything going exactly where Joker's plan is. Clownhunter as well, trying to stop everyone. But how can you stop a city of literal madness, right? And that whole the scene that you were just holding up is a beautiful 2-page spread. I think it was really cool. It not only shows
Are
the
we gonna
chaos.
talk about Joker's limo?
That's what I said. The stretch hammer. I was like,
gonna say
perfect.
His limo is baller.
He knows exactly what he's doing. He has his own face everywhere on it. He's ready to go. But
No, I'm talking about his bar, his little mini bar in the car, bro.
I know he's all set, man. He's rich now. He's the richest person in the world. He's ready to go.
living the life,
He's
man.
spending every dime. He's ready to go.
Disco lights and everything, leather chairs.
But that whole double page spread is really cool because especially that whole like corner with Joker's face is really haunting, which I love.
Yeah.
He's like, what a nut job. Yeah, exactly. He's crazy. But as he gets back, he's he's finishing up his job. He's trying to do what he wants to do. He's checking in with Punchline. He's literally killing everyone he sees. He killed his driver. He's killing all the goons that are watching
Joker
out.
fashion.
He doesn't care. He has a plan. He's ready to go. No one matters to him. But as we flip to the next page, we get a really cool Batman Families spread, of course. Grayson is back. If you don't need to read it, but he was Rick Grayson for a second, but you don't need to. You don't need to read it at all. But now he's back. His memory's kind of there, but it's fine. They'll work it out later. But everyone else is there, besides Damian, but he's off doing his thing.
Yeah.
Damian. In continuity, Damian. There's always a Robin missing in continuity. Like in the New 52, it was Dick, because he wasn't in like Batman Eternal when everyone else was there. Now that the Bat family is like united again, Damian just turned in his Robin logo. And he's like gone. He's like a little teenage phase, but I guess that's
true.
why
There's always a Robin
like
missing because at the beginning of Rebirth, Tim was missing, right? And then Dick was missing, and then now Damian's missing.
That's because Didio I really think just hate side. He really does hate side characters. More
don't
importantly, he
understand.
really hates Dick Grayson, and he really hates
Dick Grayson
because they put legacy characters in a specific age slot. So
I just wanna. Can we make Tim Drake's costume like take out the green if he's gonna be called Red Robin? I just feel like that should be reserved for the Robin character. He's Red Robin.
I think they were like getting ready for the crew, like the audience, to take, because he is currently Robin now. Like,
oh, is he? Okay, I got it.
He took back over the mantle of Robin, and that's how he is now. And so I think they were, because this is one of the first like when I read this, I was super confused too, because this was he wasn't being called Red Robin. He wasn't being called Robin.
Right.
He was called Red Drake.
Yeah, or Drake. You don't.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Don't.
I was like, come on, I'm a Bendis, bro. Get it together. I mean, Ronin was a great name when you did when you did New Avengers, but you're gonna call Tim Drake the Drake.
I know okay. Yeah. But yeah, and especially because his suit only has one R too. Like his Detective Comics suit had two R's, and so this is kind of like them getting used to him being Robin again. Because that's how he is in main.
I kind of just want him and Spoiler to have their own mini series together where we just explore both of them. Like they should at this point, they should get in like an apartment together. Like I think there's this one scene in Young Justice that I loved when they were just sitting on top of a car and they were just having.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah, scene.
And I was like, this is something that I want more elaboration on, especially because just make that a Batman Urban Legends backup story. It doesn't need to be deep or anything. Just have fun with it and explore these two characters, because at the end of the day, those are two of the more independent characters in the Batman mythos.
Just really to speak on Robin's costume, real quick, even when he was Red Robin, he had the same color scheme, but he was in the Robin costume, but he had the double R's, but it was like Robin colors. I feel like it should just be red and black. The costume he got shortly after Infinite Crisis, I would think it was like the year flash forward after that, Infinite Crisis.
It was his costume before the New 52.
Yes, it was like the red, the yellow cape behind him, like it was like winged.
Was this the Marcus Toe design, or was this somebody else?
Right before Marcus Toe, but I did appreciate the Red Robin costume itself. But when he was still going as Robin, he had like this red and black and yellow motif costume.
Okay.
I feel like that would be cool for Red Robin. I just feel like the red and green and black and all that is the yellow as well. Is the greens to me, the red and green just seems Robin.
No, totally. And they also de-aged him a little too.
Yeah.
He looks like a child now, and because they won't need him to be Robin again, so they need to de-age.
Oh yeah, no. You need a Robin technically. You always need a Robin.
And so he needs to be a child.
That kind of sucked. That was a big flaw for me, especially coming from somebody who has like gone on public record who's saying like Tim Drake is the best character ever. James Tynion has said that several times, and James Tynion is known to really love Tim Drake, and the fact that he wrote him so well in his Detective Comics and Rebirth, and the fact that it was so poor, it was so lackluster in this book. I was like, okay, I know you love this character. What are you doing?
It's true though, because you're right. Like if you compare Tynion's run on Detective to this one, I mean, it really wasn't about Tim Drake. Tim Drake in Detective was a pretty prominent character. He was an important character. In this one, he's just here to help.
But like when I've seen prior Batman stories of what James Tynion is capable of, with not only that, but he's an expert on writing the Bat family.
He really is. I will agree with you on that.
And Detective Comics, when you bring them all together, I was really, really stoked for that. But it was the biggest letdown in this book because it's like I know what your ceiling is, and you didn't give me that. You gave me something that's good. Like if a writer who's a writer that's who's been unimpressive, Tim Seeley, for example, has been a very missed writer for me when he's been writing a lot of Bat family characters, even more so in the Robin's book. But if he wrote this book and it sounded the exact same, I would have put it higher on my dig list because it would have appreciated me to Tim Seeley a lot more.
Sure.
Because it was Tynion, I'm like, well, I know you're better than this. I've seen better. So,
but I think that's the thing, Ren, is that the Bat family were just tools in this aspect. It wasn't about them anyways. Where the Detective run, each character you didn't even need Batman half the time in his detective run.
Barely
They were
saw
all
him. You could have gone 5 issues without Batman.
exactly, and you wouldn't even notice. Like that's
Yeah.
huge. That's why I'm saying I completely agree with you that he's an expert on writing the Bat family, because he can bring out each of the characters extremely well. But I think that was the story. This one is about Batman and Joker and Batman healing himself, while the Joker kind of takes out, like trying to destroy himself. Like so, I think that was kind of the main aspect. And so the Bat family is more of just tools at this point that Batman's using to help him with that mission at the right now. Because that's kind of what he says. He's like, we need to get going. Help me save the city, guys. But my favorite part, when he gives Dick Grayson his costume, with the blue and black. Here we go, boys. We're back. All right. And
Dick is back.
that's what I literally did that when I read that. I was like, oh yes, Nightwing's back. Okay. We're good. I can be cool. Okay. Comics are fine again, everybody.
I'm like, that's confirmation. Didio got fired.
It's true. It's just like, here we go, guys. Now
we're back.
He can be
Nightwing
again.
Dick's got his memories back, not Rick.
No more Rick.
The blue and black.
Is gone, and he just broke up with Bia, and Bia just left in tears. I've never been so happy to see someone cry in a comic book.
I know, yeah. It felt so good. Like, I don't know why. Like, it was just like, and she wasn't
bad
either. Like,
she was
cool, but she was like Rick's character. I was like, oh, I don't want anything to do with Rick right now. And so whatever. So that was really fun at least for me. That was really fun.
No, like Bia was fine as like an interim character.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. She was a fine character, but
I was like, you're never going anywhere, because we're eventually going to get out of this like torture for all comic readers and Dick Grayson included. But I was like, you know what you're getting into, because you know that like he said that he doesn't know who he is, and you're like still trying to like fall in love with this guy. I'm like, you got attached from you're like everyone in who watched Game of Thrones that got attached to Robb Stark. Spoilers, but you played yourself, and I was like. I played myself too, because Rob was like my favorite character at the time. I was like, I don't know how to do it. Tyrion.
I was always a fan of Jon Snow.
Tyrion.
You know that thing. But as we continue on, and this is actually going to be a huge going forward in the story right now is a huge like thumbs up to you, Brandon, for really commenting on Harley Quinn's maturity, because the rest of it is really between Joker, Batman, and then Harley is also there. She's not the main point of the story, but because she's there, a lot of stuff happens. And as we go forward, she's ready to take him out. She's like, I'm done with everything. He needs to go. You know, I think the battle with Punchline really like affected her a lot in regards to like bringing up a lot of old wounds and reopening them.
Right.
And she's like, if you can't stop him, I will do that. I will be that weapon for you. And she's like, I need to do it. The city needs him gone. This world needs him gone. Let me do it.
Right. She's like no longer thinking about herself. She's thinking about like the greater good, which Harley's a very intelligent character. And for her to do this, especially, she's like, not only the world needs him gone, but she's like, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Like, I'm going to be what you need me to be.
Yeah.
Right. Because usually that would be Alfred. I'm not saying she is being like an Alfred figure, but Batman always needs someone. You always need someone to look up to. And I think that really humanizes Batman, is you always need someone to constantly like reinforce something. And I think like that was Harley in this particular scene.
And it's interesting reading this. It's interesting reading this back too, especially after finishing Tynion's run recently with Miracle Molly. Batman and Miracle Molly have a lot of really intense back and forths, and he's doing the same thing with Harley here. I think Tynion brings a lot of big female characters, especially not even big yet. He's introducing some really deep and intellectual female characters and pushing them in front of Batman, being like, "Yo, I know you're Batman, but I can be here in front of you too." You know, like it doesn't matter that you're Batman.
Like I don't give a shit who you are. Right?
Exactly.
You're not rich anymore.
Listen to me. Yeah. You don't matter. You don't have money anymore. So
you were in the same social class. You dirt poor at this point, basically.
I like this last piece of dialogue between Harley, where she's like, "This can't just be like all the other times. The story needs to change. It needs an ending." You know, like she's saying, like, Bruce, you can't, or Batman, you can't keep doing the same old stuff, man. You catch him, you put him away, he gets out. It's like rinse and repeat. You need to end it. That's
a good point. So this scene, this one page is really big, and that's kind of what I was getting at too. It's like the dialogue between like Batman and Miracle Molly, but especially in this story with Batman and Harley, how Harley keeps saving him. She kept saving him through the entire series.
For this moment.
Yeah. And now she's like, I've been, you have to end it. I kept bringing you back so you can end it. You're the only one that can. That's what she's been telling him the entire time.
And she's like, I know you can I know you can kick my ass and take my stuff if you want to. Like you can just drop kick me and just knock me the fuck out. And once again, you're Batman. She's like, but here's the deal. If he kills you, I'm taking the shot, ending it right then and there. And I don't care about your stupid code or any of that. If he's going to get away with killing all those people too, the Gothamites, I see him ready to pull the trigger. I will shoot him down. She's just like, I don't give a crap. You can beat the crap out of me. But she's like, I was like,
it doesn't matter how much you hurt you. I've been hurt more than you can ever do that. Like that hurt needs to stop. Like not just for me, but for the world.
Yeah.
Right. And Batman's like, I got this. And she's like, you better get this, like, here we go. And
I just love Harley. I just really, really, really fell in love with Harley's character in this book.
I completely agree and see what your point to this. Like she's very well written in this story. And I'm not the biggest Harley Quinn fan either. And I
not at all.
Completely respect her how she's written this book.
Oh yeah. I'm not the biggest Harley fan either, but it's like I don't know. I like Harley in the New 52 a lot, but that's really my only favorite iteration because a lot of the Rebirth stuff was just very missable after Jimmy and Amanda left. But this was probably the best thing since that, and I will stand by that.
Sure.
I don't do any of the Jester costume. I don't do none of that. I love this part of Harley.
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
Jester costume's classic.
I don't care. I don't like it.
Have you ever watched Batman?
Yeah, I watched Batman. But I just don't like that iteration of Harley compared to what we have now.
I get that,
no, it's completely better. Yeah,
she has such a much better dynamic.
And as we go through, he's gonna finish it. Yeah, I got it, Harley. Don't worry. He's going through and he's trying to find the Joker, and of course, the Joker finds him. And the Joker is exactly what we were talking about. How he was trying to be this mirror image of Batman, and he does. He puts on the nice, cool, futuristic Batman suit. And makes it his own and trying to show him what it really is. Like, this is just all a joke, Bruce. Like, Batman, this is just a joke. Look, you are a joke. The city is a joke. This is all disgusting.
It's really weird because in this hardcover, it collects all the tie-ins. Like, a lot of Omnibus, a lot of collected editions collect the main event and then the tie-ins. This actually did it in order. So, usually how I complain about that, this, didn't. So, when I was reading this, dismissed all the tie-ins. It printed Warzone before Batman 100, and I was like, that was really weird.
Did it? Yeah.
Because I was like, Warzone really doesn't mean anything.
No, yeah, Warzone definitely takes place after.
Warzone just set up all the backup stories and the Joker story.
Going forward.
I was like, that was really weird. So I don't know. That was horribly weird.
Yeah, I'd write a complaint. You guys messed up the cohesive order. No, I wouldn't go that far, but
I would say they didn't mess up. They did mess up the cohesive order, but I was like, why are we going to Arkham when we didn't even finish everything else? Yeah.
But as we get into issue 100, here we go. This is the culmination of what's going on. We're getting.
I gotta flip through all these stupid tie-ins first.
It's true.
Catch up.
This is actually where we get a little tiny side story too. This is where this is kind of the first kind of incarnation of Barbara going back to being Oracle, which is really, really cool. Batman needs kind of an eye in the sky kind of thing. And of course, Barbara's the only one that can really do that effectively. And so she has to take her seat back on the Oracle chair in the watchtower. And it keeps her safe.
Because of the chip. The nanochip's the only thing keeping her really going.
Yeah, because that was a big side story too, a little bit what was going on with Barbara. Joker stopped by, of course, the Joker has to haunt Barbara Gordon as well. And they had this huge fight together, and she literally stabs her own, because he hacked into her chip in her spine that lets her walk. And so he was literally controlling her body, and it
was like
she could not do that.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool side story. I know we're not really
it was.
It, but that was that was the cover where he was entering her apartment, had Barbara Gordon with a smile, and I was being a huge fan of the Killing Joke. I was like, that homages it so well without homaging it, because you don't if you didn't read the Killing Joke, you can just be like, oh my gosh, Joker's gonna screw up Barbara. It's people who have oh, I know the last time he was in that apartment.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's really it's such a creepy story, which is great. It's such a unique story to read, and then just to see Barbara being I'm not going to go down the same way that went last time, and so she just stabs her own back to get the chip out, and so she's kind of on the mend right now, and so of course she has to go back to being Oracle. But this is kind of like where she flourishes, and I love it. So she's
Yeah.
tying all the team together, right, as Oracle, getting everyone to where they need to be, to show them what's really going on, to help where they need to help, and of course Bullock too. And we get more fighting throughout. We get the Bat family, her classic bantering with Nightwing again, and so they're like Batman said, he needs their help to kind of stop all the petty crime going on, all the Jokers, everything going on in the city. You take care of that. I will cut off the head of the snake. So I'll be back. And so that's what Batman's doing right now, taking on the Joker himself.
Right. And we got Dick.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I was gonna skip that part, but I knew I shouldn't have. Here we go. Like we get a sweet Dick Grayson scene, and then like I said, the banter with Barbara again. So good. He's just back. Okay.
Yeah, and then it was funny because like he was fighting, or do we even get that for? Yeah, he's fighting Punchline, or he goes to fight Punchline, and she like brings her Joker crew out, and she's like, "Oh, just change the Boy Blue," and he's like, and then the Bat family comes in, he's like, "Yeah, they sure did." I was like,
I know, that's such a cool scene.
I was like, to me, like, I actually, this might be a hot take, but because Alfred is gone, they look up to Dick Grayson more so than they would look up to Batman in most instances, because Dick Grayson is a very humanizing factor, along with a lot of leadership qualities, which is what Alfred really saw in him, which Tom Taylor's written so beautifully, which we will be covering on the show in a few weeks. But I was like, these guys really respect him. Like Jason Todd respects the crap out of Nightwing, and he has like nothing for Batman, right?
It's true though. It's true. Like he argues with him. Jason argues with like Dick. He doesn't let him like have anything, you know. But that's just because
he has a whole lot more respect for him. He'll have a conversation with him. That's the thing.
He'll listen to him.
He won't have a conversation.
He'll straight up try to fight Batman because I don't need to listen
just to go against him.
Just to push him.
It's because he's so petty. Right? Or like people who have written Jason Todd over the past decade and a half have created this big hostile thing about the character that he will never move on. And he's just mad. And he'll never get over, which I think is so...
I mean, that's what it ties into.
But it's so detrimental to the character.
I agree. That's my biggest pet peeve with
Jason.
anyone writing
Never
Jason.
Move on.
When he's written by himself, it's very good. But when he's ever written, any Batman writer trying to write Jason Todd, it's always exactly that. He's just this angry kid.
Or whenever Red Hood is with the Outlaws, like that was the worst thing for him, was being with those other Outlaws. Like they did nothing for him.
Well, are you talking about like the Lobdell run? Because I liked the Dark Trinity. I liked the Rebirth.
Yeah, with Bizarro and
brought a lot of heart to
Artemis. Yeah,
but Jason Todd has never really had a writer that has given him his own story to move past. If you talk about who needs the Tom King treatment, Jason Todd needs it.
I completely agree. But that's kind of what I'm saying. You get more of it though when he's by himself. If any Batman writer, when he's joining Batman, they always write him as this angry kid. And like that's not, he's much more than that. What that is. Absolutely. It's very frustrating when he shows up in Batman books because he's shrunk down to just his base.
That's why like I don't like Red Hood that much, just because move on. Get over it.
Get over it. You died. Get over it, bro.
Get over it. It's been years. It's been like since 1988, 1987.
I know. Yeah, come on, man.
I was like,
all the Robins have died already. Come on, man.
I'm like, shit. Eddie Brock is a newer character. Dylan Brock's a newer character. Yeah, no, Eddie's a newer character. He's already moved on from everything that's like haunted him. I'm like, look, him and Spider-Man are pals at this point, you know. But I'm like, come on now, like, move past it. We need more narrative for Jason.
Yeah,
and I think step one is by doing that, you know.
I mean, I kind of like the fact though that he is the one that it's kind of everyone's kind of almost in awe of Batman sometimes, and he's the one that's just like, don't believe the hype, like, you know, he can make mistakes. Yeah, exactly. I respect that. I appreciate.
Well, because I mean that's one of his biggest. He knows because he's like, I'm one of his biggest mistakes.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Right.
He messed up. I'm proof of that.
Right.
Like, he's not perfect. Like, look. Because of his imperfections, this
right. Look at me.
So, no wonder he's angry. Yeah, I completely see that. That was a good point, Steph. That was a really, really good point.
Thank you.
But yes, so he's fighting. We're seeing Batman taking on Joker, and we're getting to that scene. Like the plan is falling apart, like I mentioned earlier, when stuff goes awry, when the plan isn't falling exactly how it should be. Punchline gets kind of really nervous because you're dealing with the Joker. You have to, even she knows you have to do exactly what's going on. And so we're getting to that scene that Brandon was talking about, where the Bat family shows up especially with this one scene with Nightwing showing up. It's just a beautiful, beautiful scene.
Yeah.
In the fact that he's just classic cocky Dick Grayson. Yeah, he's like,
it's the heart of all Dick Grayson.
You see me? You see me? Look, you're about to be put down here. And he does. He doesn't hold back. And she calls in her clown goons, and he's like, you have all these. So what? I have these guys, and I would choose the Bat Family over a bunch of goons too. So, and they just go at it. So that's what's going on there. Catwoman's just hiding in the background. And we see that Batman and Joker are going at it. They're literally bringing down the building around them. They're going hand to hand. Joker is finally kind of like getting off to what he's truly about. And they're what is it? They're going back between each other. They're hitting each other. They're ridiculous about beating the crap out of each other. And then Harley just shoots him in the face. Out of nowhere, we get Harley. And classic, hiya, Mr. J, long time no see. Funny because she just shot out his eye. So that's really funny. That's really cool too. But it's a really cool scene with Harley and Joker and Batman coming up. Those three together. She is so driven at this point. This is exactly what needs to happen. She wasn't going to wait around for Batman to lose. Wasn't going to wait around for Batman to let him get escape or put him back in jail. And so she's going to give him the opportunity to make sure Joker never leaves, right? And so she ties the Joker to this pillar with a bomb, right? And so he has to defuse it, or what was it? It wasn't defuse it. It was he's either going to die or the city's going to die. They need his help. So he has to choose, and he ends up walking away.
I like that scene. It kind of reminded me of Batman Begins at the end, where he's with Ra's al Ghul, and he's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. Yeah, that was that kind of moment.
Yeah, it was good. I like the whole them just kind of staring at each other.
Yeah. Right there. Oh yeah.
Well, Harley had the bomb strap to herself and a bomb strap to Joker, and she's like, pick one.
That's right. That was the choice. Thank you. Yes, I forgot. And so she runs off. So Batman's choosing to go save Harley, which I think was probably the smarter choice. But I like the whole thing with Alfred's body laughing too, and he and Joker says "shut up," right? Too his whole plan's going down in flames too, and so Batman is off, kind of leaving the Joker. It was a big explosion, and then we wake up a week later, and Harley's in a hospital bed. Right. She's super beat up. They're talking about how he's renewed, right? Everything that transpired between the Joker, Harley, and the city itself, and the Jokers, and especially talking to Alfred. I think that's really what he's kind of getting at towards this last scene, is that he's changed. He needs to be the type of hero, a better hero than what he was. It wasn't about just stopping evil. It's about being the hero that the city needs. Right. And so you get this kind of understanding. You kind of get this understanding a little bit, but especially between Batman and Harley, and kind of her de facto invite to the Bat family a little bit. Right. And so that I loved. Then a little funeral at the end, which is good. But I think overall, the story is really, really cool. It ends with Ghostmaker too, which I think was do you like that character, by the way, guys? Nope. Do you like Ghostmaker?
I like the idea of him.
Do you like the idea of him?
I haven't read the further arcs, but I know where him and Bruce's connection is. I like the idea though, from what I've heard.
Yeah, because the Joker story ends with a brand new beginning. It literally ends with a sunrise onto kind of this destroyed Gotham, and Batman has this new kind of vigor into trying to start anew and fresh into the city. He's lost his entire fortune. It's never going back to him. And so, he has to figure out a new way of doing things, and he wants to figure out a new way of doing things, being this new hero. And I liked that whole message. And I definitely love that it ended with a sunrise onto a brand new kind of day. That was very, very touching.
But we didn't actually get a brand new day.
No, thank God we didn't get a brand new day. Yes. We don't need a Batman brand new day. Thank you.
My biggest pet peeve with Ghostmaker is it's driving off of a bunch of different concepts we've seen before in Bruce's past coming back to haunt him.
Sure.
And if you ever want to play off that concept, there are so many other characters you can choose from. Most notably, if you want to use a modern interpretation, use Tommy Elliott.
Sure.
Use Hush. Use the Court of Owls. Use Ra's al Ghul. Use Talia al Ghul. Use who's another character? You can use so many other characters to where Ghostmaker really just looks the coolest. But
I mean, yes, he does look the coolest.
But no,
That's
like
for sure.
it's just Jimenez's design with it was just fantastic. And he made him look super dope. But I don't
so
like
cool. His design's
I
so
don't
cool.
like what the backup stories have done to make it look like a kaiju like video game type book, like an
in the during his backup stories
yeah,
recently.
I was like, that kind of like ruined it for me. But it's weird. But
I don't trust him still. Like, are you all caught up with Batman
I didn't read
so
the
far?
annual.
You haven't read the okay, but you've seen them. You've read them both together.
Yeah,
and I still don't trust him. Like I'm very excited to see where they go with that kind of partnership. I see what you mean, and I don't think you're wrong at all.
My whole theory is now that like Tynion's gone, you can't necessarily get rid of these characters. You can, but I don't think you will.
Yeah.
I mean, DC's basically like thrown out their whole future state idea because they're getting there's a reason why they're putting all their future state ideas now before Darkseid makes his appearance. He's a character that lives outside continuity, so he comes in, he can mess up the continuity. Therefore, you write all the future state stories, and they don't actually matter. You can start a new after.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna happen. I guarantee it. But I've been saying it for months now. We did a video of that months ago, which you can go back and look at Christ on Infinite Rants. But I think Ghostmaker is gonna end up being the mentor for Tim Fox. Because Batman's going incorporated. Right, he's doing like a whole incorporated thing he's going abroad, so you need someone in Gotham. So it's going to be Ghostmaker and Tim Fox. Punchline, I think, is going to be the main villain in the Harley book.
I thought Tim Fox was going to New York. I thought that was a big thing coming up. Is that he's leaving Gotham?
Is he?
Yeah, I think Fox is going to and going to New York.
Then Ghostmaker will have to be in Gotham then, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think him and Tim are going to eventually meet.
Him and Tim?
Yeah.
I think they'd work actually very well together.
I think they would.
I think they work very well together.
And then I think Miracle Molly will be Oracle because Batgirl's been going back into the field. Mm-hmm. Miracle Molly will be Oracle, and then Clownhunter I think will be going to Bloodhaven. I think he'll get the F out of Gotham.
Oracle Molly.
That'd be great. Yeah. Do you think those two would work well together? I think they.
I think
strong personalities.
I think Miracle Molly has a good enough personality, and she's really tech savvy to where we kind of see her use that relationship with the Bat family members so far in Fear State. We've gotten like little hints that like she'll fit in with a lot of characters, because she's very empathetic and she looks out for everyone, which would make her a great Oracle.
Yeah, but I don't think she herself would ever want to be Bat family material. You know, I think she has her own kind of world agenda.
But she can be Oracle and not be like synced into the Bat family.
Yeah, totally. I don't think that gets rid of Barbara as Oracle though. You would rather see her go back into the Batgirl role because I mean we get the Batgirls storyline coming up too.
Yeah, right. And
what's up?
Said too many bad girls.
I'm
just kidding. Right, but that's where we're gonna get like Orphan Spoiler and Barbara, which I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. But it seemed like that gave me a lot of like Birds of Prey feels a little bit. I'm quite excited for that Batgirls run a little bit. The art's pretty cartoony, but I'm excited to see where it's gonna go.
That's the only thing is like I've seen Jorge Corona in the Robin or like in Middle West and like even in the Me You Love in the Dark, and this is a complete different shift.
It is. It very much is. Yeah, it's crazy.
It almost
feels random more tangent, Middle West. But since we're on like New York, you guys got me thinking of it talking about Batgirls with spoiler. Certain characters don't need a bat emblem on them. Spoilers one, Signals one, Red Robin's one. Let them have like Dick as Nightwing has his own motif going on. Let them all have like their own motif. They don't need like a bat emblem just to be representative.
We know they're with them. They don't need.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't need a membership card.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's like me walking around saying, "Hey guys, shop at Costco. Here's my card."
Yeah, exactly.
Slap it on your chest.
I'm good. I'm part of the Bat family here.
I'm part of the Costco family. Come on now, you know I am, right? Yeah. Oh, I saw you last week. I know.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I really enjoy. I thought the story was very serviceable. If anything, we got the closure with Alfred that we didn't really get in King's Run. As a reader, we got to
Which was a huge surprise. Like,
yes.
Yeah, so Brandon mentioned this earlier. Like, he'd been dead for a while, even into King's Run, and like, he didn't do anything with it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He wasn't allowed to.
He wasn't. I was about to get to that.
Okay, so
Like, I know he was kicked off before he was even allowed to finish, which I actually would have liked to have seen his finish. But like, I know you would have think he would have like hinted at it or
Touched
something.
on something,
I don't know.
Well, we got the RIP issue, but like that was not enough because they were just
Not at
No, it
all,
wasn't.
not
No,
at
yeah.
Not
I
like
could-
this. Yeah, Steph, to your
No,
point,
yeah.
not like this at all.
Yeah.
no. This was so condensed and it was just so perfect. I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah.
No,
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was a good. It's a very, very good Batman story.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yes.
Is it anything mind blowing like comic book mind blowing? Not at all. Is it a really good Batman story? Yes, I think it's a really
It's
good
really
Batman
good.
story.
It's nowhere near any other. It's nowhere near the Rise and Fall of Batman. That Tynion did in Detective. I would honestly point everyone in that direction.
No, yeah, his detective run is phenomenal.
Now,
It's genre changing almost.
Yes.
looking back at Tynion's, I'm sure we will be covering Fear State somewhere down the road when it collects. But what do you guys think of Tynion's run as a whole?
As a whole, Steph?
I only admittedly I'm doing archives has made me get caught up. I've been stacking collecting, but I'm just Joker War was the second arc I've read. I haven't read anything past that. I remember when this was coming out, people were comparing Joker War, saying I thought it was premature, but they were saying like, oh, this is already showing that Tynion's run is going to be better than King's, and some were comparing it to Snyder's. I think that was very premature. It's an enjoyable read, but I don't think it's going to be remembered in the long run of things.
Oh no, it'll get lost, especially
Yeah,
because of how many Joker books. I think it'll get lost solely because of how many Joker books that came out at that time, and just because of just the amount of Batman stories there are. I don't think. I think that the hypeness of this book was definitely like a letdown for what was inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like people just overhyped just because of Something's Killing Children. All the other books that Tynion was doing at the time were just award-winning books. This just wasn't it. Like we kind of talked earlier, there's like, oh my gosh, does anyone have a Batman story? Tyne's like, oh sure, I got them.
I think
it was still solid.
I agree. Like at the time, I was kind of feeling the same thing though. I was really pumped about it when it was coming out single issues. Like it was very exciting to me. I was like one of my first reads every week whenever it came out. But I think a lot of that had to do with it coming off of King's Run and how King's Run was such a slow build. Like there wasn't like this book was so action packed. There was a lot going on. Big explosions, big fight scenes, Batman being Batman, right? He literally says, I'm Batman.
The best Batman art we have seen.
Exactly. And we get a very exciting classic Batman story, which we hadn't got in like, I don't know, 80 issues.
Yeah,
right?
It's been a while.
So it's been a while since we got something like, and like, I'm not trying to hate on Tom King. Like I legitimately was very excited to see his long run. I like big long runs, but I think people weren't hooked as much as I was on a lot of his stuff. It was very slow.
It was
very slow. It was very different. Yeah, it was very different.
Coming out of a lot of people coming out of the New 52 just wanted a classic Batman feel, and that's what it started as. But once like you like you said, it like built up very slowly. It turned into more of a Bruce Wayne story, and no one cared for that.
The inner.
Now I found it to be very intriguing because I love I love Tom King because he doesn't care like as much as fan service. It's like I'm just gonna please people as much as like I'm gonna just tell my story the way it is, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I have enough of an audience for people to like it. Plus, it's Batman. You're gonna pick it up regardless, right? Yeah. To where it was more like I'm gonna do a character study on Bruce Wayne and kind of the psychedelics of his relationship with Catwoman, like with Selena Kyle, and Catwoman's relationship with Bruce Wayne, highlighting like the two different like reflections, like the yin and yang of Bruce Wayne and Batman, like the turmoil within ourselves. He basically Uncle Iroh'd. If you guys have ever seen Avatar: Last Airbender, he was Uncle Iroh, and he was studying Zuko.
It was a very intimate run, King's Run.
But it was
he focuses. It is. It's all a character study on Bruce because the first story arc is him in Gotham, especially with the Gotham literally becoming two superheroes, right? Like Gotham's bigger bodies, and then it moves
Gotham Girl.
Yeah, exactly. It moves into like this study with his relationship with Selena. He touches on bits with Dick Grayson, right, as well, like that whole story arc with KG Beast and his relationship with Dick Grayson, and so like big aspects, and then the death of Alfred and the importance of him, and like.
Dios did that.
Exactly. And then, and then it touches on a lot of the different big villains of Bruce's past, and especially with the war of jokes and riddles, and then the City of Bane. Like it's literally a study on Bruce Wayne, and it's these small stories that don't look interconnected, but really, I was really hoping to see the big connection. I could say it was there, and we just didn't get that, and it was too slow for people, and I think that's why people were so excited with Tynion's run when it came out. I was like, oh, this is so fresh and new and awesome.
Yeah, and Batman's immediately like just swinging from buildings, and we really he's in dark alleys, and this is more like we're just seeing a lot more Bruce Wayne and just the inner turmoil of him as a character, which I actually found more interesting because no one's ever done before, and it's something we needed. Someone had to do it.
I liked it. I was very excited about it. And I was with him until the end.
100%. And you ask yourself as Batman fans, right? Okay, a character's been here for like 80 plus, going on like 80 years now. What more can you do to a character who's been around that way? That's how you do it, right there, right? You didn't go out of your way to create any new characters. You just built off of like years of history and years of like depression and years of like, okay, so what is actually Batman represent on Bruce Wayne?
Yeah.
And people were just not into it. I was like,
and people were not into it. Like they weren't. And
there's like even with Tynion, I would say like new characters. Like everyone wants new characters, and Tynion brings out like 6, 7 new characters.
And I think a lot of people were hanging on for King for a while. They're like they had hope for it, and then issue 50 comes around, and the wedding didn't happen. And I think. And everyone's just like, I'm done. This was stupid. And so, I think that was the real turning point for me, and that's what I felt with with a lot of like customers and everything that I was interacting with. It's just that fall, especially because it was leaked early. That was kind of that sucked too.
Yeah,
that was really terrible too. Whoever leaked that, and then just killed the book from then on out. People weren't.
The momentum was
it was just gone after that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think this overall very good Batman story. Not a legendary story.
I definitely recommend it though.
Agree. Oh, that's what
I think it's worth a read. I think it's worth a read.
Yeah,
I mean, just for the art, I would say the art's like fantastic.
Yo, I love him.
I would even say like for some of the other characters, like I would even say like if you're a Harley fan, I would give you
Harley fan. Yes,
completely.
Like you were saying,
if you like, there were
Joker
just so
fan
many
too.
things.
Like, please,
like there are just so many different like things about this book that I would recommend just because like for the fandom's sake. But if you want like an all-time Batman story, I just wouldn't throw this in front of you. Or if you just said, "Hey, I want a Tom King Batman story," I just wouldn't throw this in front of you. At the first shot, I would throw it in like Detective Comics, or Batman Eternal, and then I'd probably give you this. But, it was fine. It's solid.
It's a good palate pleaser.
His run as a whole, looking hindsight,
yes, thank you.
I would say it's fine. It's fine. That's it.
That's it.
It's because it doesn't do anything. That's like really. I agree. It had a lot of potential to where it could have elevated, but I think Tynion was just doing so much. He didn't have like the time and the energy to really elevate it to the level that fans were expecting, or the expectations that Tynion has established over the years of his writing or his like fame. So I would definitely say that
I would have to believe that a lot of like the
Bat Office sucks. I heard
that's what I'm talking about.
Horrible.
Yeah, I mean there are like I got an interview there a little bit ago for for with Ben Abernathy, like the head of the there. Yeah, he gave me 2 Nightwing books. But really
nice,
great staff over there. But yes, it's very stressful. It's extremely crazy. There's a lot of you have to fit within their box. Like they have a very, very small box for Batman. And so it's hard probably for artists and creators to be able to do what they want within that very small box that they're allowed to work in. So especially coming off a big run, like Tynion had to like kind of like play catch up a little bit probably.
Yeah.
They're like, we fired him, now you do. Okay, yeah, sure, I have a Batman story. Sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I can do this.
And it was fine, right? This was really solid. What came after really fits my fine-ish like mindset. I was like, you could read it, like you're not gonna hurt yourself by reading it because it's a very readable story. It visually looks appealing. The story, there's enough story there to be entertaining and to get something out of it, but it's nothing to like drive home, I would say, compared to his other work. And I can't help but to compare it to his other work.
I mean, you shouldn't. It's his breadth of work. Yeah, totally.
So I'm kind of at an impasse there. It's like I really wanted to like it, but at the end of the day, I feel like it was so average and it missed a lot of potential. But that's also just because he had other projects as well. He had Something Is Killing the Children. It's already got option. Department of Truth already got option at this point. So it was like I could totally
he's doing just fine.
And you're launching your business now, the Tiny Onion. I'm like, you're fine. You don't need this, but you're just doing this for royalties if it ever gets like So I get it. It's fine. It's fine. It's harmless.
Yeah,
it's harmless because
it's worth a read.
You know, because it's just another cool, like, okay, this is this writer's interpretation of the Batman Joker relationship. And if you are a Tynion fan of his work and you want to know that, I would definitely point you in the direction of this 100%.
Agree.
Yeah.
All right,
Michael,
cool.
That concludes.
Oh, am I wrapping it up? I thought
No, yeah,
that concludes our archives for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you, also Brandon, for setting this up. I like to thank you every time. Like, this is amazing. I have such a good time talking to everybody. Stuff as you. Thank you for joining us on Comixkings every week.
I tell you guys, I couldn't do this show without you guys. Like, I really, what we've kind of this. I'm gonna like go on a little bit of a tangent if anyone's like watching this after chat, but what we've the past few months since July, I would say, or August, we've been figuring out our posting schedule, like me especially, because like I couldn't do this all alone. I had Bryce, but around August, like hit these guys up. I was like, hey, can you guys join? You know, what can we do to make this better? And they're in. So like I couldn't really do this without them at all, because it's hard. It's really hard doing this. So you guys make it all worth it. You two up there. You guys really do help me out with this show, and we've kind of all brainstormed to put this posting schedule together with Crisis, with Archives, with Creators Corner, with Weekly Wrap Up, to make sure that we have something cemented for years to come. So you guys are great. I couldn't do this without you guys. So don't thank me. I really owe you guys a lot for doing this.
I'll thank you every week, man. No
quick announcements on this end. So I'm gonna announce the posting schedule as always. Weekly wrap up every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's our only live show other than Creators Corner. So catch us at 8 p.m. for an interactive conversation about weekly comic books, as well as just books you're reading, books we're enjoying, just fun comic book conversations as well. Crisis on Infinite Rants is going to be dropping every Wednesday at 1 Eastern time, part of the PCP Army Bad Batch Whiplash Wednesday. That's with myself and Stefan. We'll try to get Michael on some of these shows. But I think we're going to be, I don't even know what we're doing this Wednesday. We're going to be talking about that. But down the road, we're going to be brainstorming, listing our top 100 superheroes. And we're going to be going on increments of 10. So we're going to be trying to get that. That's going to be a longer term project for that. We recently did our top 5 X-Men artists. So that was a lot of fun.
And a struggle.
Oh my gosh, I was like so torn.
How can you pick 5, man? That's
great. Yeah, right.
I'm like, well, this person was on for 2 issues, but I loved them. But I was like, so that was a lot of fun. And then
that was good. Yeah, that's good.
This Saturday, so this comes out on Friday. So tomorrow, we're gonna be live with Jimenez, talk about Ben Reilly, Spider-Man, and Craven's Last Time, and all that good stuff. I'm really excited to talk to Jam about his return to Marvel. It's kind of bittersweet because I also announced JR's return to Marvel. So now we're doing the same thing with Jimenez, and I was like, that's pretty freaking dope. And then we're going to be joined by John Leese the following Wednesday, the 8th, for part of a AWA. We're going to be talking about Hotel. First issue came out this week, so make sure you guys go check that out. That's in the description below as well.
I love the first one.
Yes. So that's coming up here, and then Creators Corner is booked. I can officially announce that Roy Thomas will be on the show in January.
Woo! Oh, dude. Nice, man. I'm
really stoked about that because there's so many reasons to be stoked about that. But that's just amazing to have that experience, because I think everybody's dream is to have a conversation with Stan Lee. And Roy Thomas was there every step of the way and co-created probably the other half of the Marvel Universe. If I had to choose through like 4 Titans in the Marvel Universe, it'd be Stan, Roy, like writers, not artists, just writers. Because like obviously I'm not going to discount Jack Kirby. It would be Stan, Roy, Claremont, and Starlin.
Sure, classic.
So those were and I would say Shooter, but Shooter was more of an editor, more so than a writer.
Great overseer though.
Yeah, Shooter made everything happen. So, but Roy is I'm like, that's just like blows my mind that we've been able to do Creators Corner for less than a year, and that show's been so well received. So
it's a great show.
It's good.
Thank you guys all for your support. This is what allows us to keep doing these shows, keep bringing you guys this energy, and really trying to bring out the best content day in and day out. So you guys make the channel what it is. Thank you to you two and anyone watching.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Take care.
Station.
Oh wait, I gotta do the outro because never mind.
We'll